Okay, well, for initiating this program, and I'm proud to be able to give my portion of the thing, which is, to me, I think what we need to do is get an understanding of what gymnastics is, what the benefits of the programs are, and perhaps how, a little bit of an idea how we can get it started in our Native American communities. It's such a fantastic thing for the children, and it's such a large variety of things. Within the gymnastics world, there are many, many different disciplines, and they all kind of start at the beginning, and that's what I think we have to look at, starting right at the beginning for our Native American programs. And the picture that you just saw was a thing where I was in 1977 invited to do clinics and lectures in Egypt. And one of the things that, we were to do for Mr. Nissen, who originated the whole tour, was to find a way to get a trampoline to the top of the pyramid so we could do a flip up on top of the pyramid. That's what he wanted to do. And so, a long story short, we were able to get a small trampoline up there. Mr. Nissen got to do the first backflip, and I got to do the second one, and that's what the picture was about. When Jeannie asked me to do this, I said, well, we need to have quite a cast of characters here to make this thing work. We're going to have to have people that know how to teach the teachers in the Native program, and we'll go through some of this, but this is a bit of a few of the people that I've come up with. Dean and Debbie, of course, have done a lot of international events, and we want to give this opportunity to the children and so on as well. Michael and Mary Cates, they have a large gymnastics school in Los Angeles. They have done tremendous amounts of work with the Special Olympic kids, and many of our programs in gymnastics will involve special kids, and we want that to happen. So they have a lot of expertise and so on with that. In our National Gymnastics Federation, we have much help that once we get the program started, they're going to jump right in with both feet and really help us with whatever we can do. And one in particular is Ron and Susan Jacobson. Ron is kind of director of events. Susan is the director of the trampoline and tumbling program, which I think is another fun, wonderful thing for the kids to do. Peter Vidmar, who is an Olympian, and he is now the chairman of the board of directors. Peter's given his support. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here today. He's a fairly busy fellow. And along with Peter, I think Bart and Nadia will also be willing to help us out. The main thing I think we need to do is to educate the Native community as to the benefits of having this program. This is something that will help the children in so many aspects, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I'll try to touch a little bit on each of them. But physically, we have so many things. The strength and endurance, cardiovascular fitness. Gymnastics activities can be very cardiovascular when done correctly. We talked a little bit with some of the people about increased lymphatic flow. Every time you land or stop and go back up, like jumping off the springboards and the trampolines and on the floor, the lymph glands open and lymph fluids flow through your body, releasing toxins and poisons, and it's the most wonderful thing that hardly anybody knows about. These things have only come to light through the work from NASA, and very, very important thing. And then other things, spatial awareness, flexibility, great body awareness, knowing proprioceptively where your feet are, where your hands are when you're flying through the air. And then the aerial awareness, knowing where you're at when you're upside down and in a handstand and so on. These are very, very important things. Mentally, you have to have courage. You have to have confidence. the ability to make quick decisions. When you're flying through the air and you're not going to do exactly what you had planned to do, you've got to make a quick decision. And this applies to life as well. Many times we're flying through life and we have to make a quick decision because things didn't happen exactly the way we had planned earlier. So a lot of life things go on in the mental aspect as well. Knowing what you can do, and maybe more importantly, knowing what you cannot do. And you will also have to study the laws of physics, or at least understand some of them. Studying them and understanding them takes a little bit higher mathematics than most children will have, but they can understand them if we give them examples, and this is a very important thing. Working with other people, cooperation with a teacher, having to do something 100 or 1,000 times to get towards that perfection stage, where you could actually show it off, go into a competition, or be on a performance team. And we'll talk more about all of these things a little bit later. At the very beginning, the gymnastics program is so broad. There's many activities and many possibilities even for the beginners, for the special students and the handicapped. In 1970, I had a chance to work with about 100 special kids at Sergeant Unischreiber's upstate ranch in New York. And at that point, that's where we started and learned what the special kids could do. And the Special Olympics for gymnastics started from all the things that I figured out there. We made up the first routines. And so I've been involved with the special kids ever since, of course. We use gymnastics for a lot of other sports as well, and Susie will vouch for this. To do that the kids are doing it with. You should do gymnastics training, and you can only ski when there's snow on the ground. 9 months, well, you go and you train in your gymnastics. We can do a lot of specific sport things for skiing, as we can for pole vaulting, as we can for diving, as we can for many other activities. So one of my friends in Hawaii has a big gymnastics school, and he has special classes for those that are 70 years and older. You know, if you're 70, you only have to pay half price. If you're 80, you get to come for free. But one of his lesson plans is how to fall at an older age. You know, there's so many people or they do something, and so one more wonderful aspect of this. Okay, here's just a few of the little benefits. When you're walking on that balance beam, you have to have. When you're trying to stand on your hands upside down, that's a balance trick. So there's a lot of balance things. Coordination. You have to be coordinated to make some of these moves. Muscular strength and endurance. Different things. Strength is one thing. Muscular endurance is another. And we train both things in gymnastics. You have to be strong enough to pull yourself up over a bar. And your routine might last for 25 skills. So you have to have some endurance as well. So these things are very important. As we said earlier, the lung and cardiovascular efficiency, if you do a floor exercise routine, that lasts a full minute, and it's tremendously difficult routines. Now for little kids, they wouldn't be doing the harder tricks, but still, the routine lasts for a minute. And David's going to take some of his beginning kids this afternoon to their first competition, and it's going to be a wonderful experience for these children. And at the end of their floor exercise routine, they're going to be. It's going to be just great. We've done a lot of work with brain damaged kids that have had accidents of some kind, automobile or falling or something, and we found out that the learning process of moving re-establishes those connections in the brain. For example, the creeping and crawling, you start with that. And then the cross pattern work. And then you go to bilateral movements. And gymnastics has both. And so it's for a wonderful activity like this. learning the rhythm of doing movement. Self-confidence is important. I talked a little bit about the lymphatic circulation. This tells a little bit about it. It helps in many medical aspects. I know our time is limited, so I don't go too far through all of these things. I know not only in the Native American community, but in all of our communities, this has become a great problem, the obesity problem. And if you can get the kids moving, they will lose weight. They will burn calories. And part of our training, I think, as coaches is also to encourage them to eat properly. Okay? Stay away for a little bit from all of the sugars and all that stuff. And you can't be a fat kid and be a good gymnast. Okay? You just can't. And so you can be a fat kid and do gymnastics and improve your health and fitness. And that's one of the great benefits of gymnastics, is doing this. The ocular motor skills, walking on the balance beam, running for the vault, flying through the air on the vault, jumping on the trampoline. Your eyes have to continually change focus. This helps the kids' reading abilities. It's a tremendous thing. So just that. And it applies to all other sports. You know, how do you catch a ball or throw a ball through a hoop if you don't have good ocular motor skills? Okay, how are we going to get this started in the Native American communities? This is going to be one of our biggest problems, I think. Okay, number one, you got to find a site. And what kind of a site can you use? Well, do you have a school there that has a multi-purpose room or a gym? That's a perfect site. I know for a fact that there's many boys and girls clubs on some of the reservations. Some of the reservations have a boys and girls club. And usually those places will have a multi-purpose room or a gym. And that's all we need. It's just a little facility. You can do gymnastics in a room this size. Okay? Then you have to find instructors, somebody who knows about it. Well, that's where Dean and Debbie and Mike and Mary Kate's, myself, to where David and people who've done gymnastics are going to come in. We're going to teach those people how to do this properly. Okay? In 57 years of teaching, I've learned a few things about how to teach other teachers how to teach. And so I'm excited about this part of the thing. Obtaining equipment. Equipment's costly. But at the beginning program, for the beginning program, it's not going to cost that much money. As your program grows, then you're going to add more equipment. So the cost is spread out over a period of time. And we'll go over that in a little bit, maintaining equipment. Then once you get that equipment, you get the kids going, you publicize and you promote the program, you tell other people about the benefits, you have the kids go out and do a little show in front of the PTA, or if there's a parade or whatever happens in your local community, you promote it. I have made, over the period of years, what I call the progressional level system. And for the basic gymnastics things, I'm very happy to share with anybody these levels. At the beginning level, for example, of the girls' gymnastics, I've got about 20 tricks on each of the events. So that's 80 different tricks for the beginning kids to learn. 80 tricks. Plus, if they add the tumbling things, then there's another 50 tricks on the tumbling. And so level 2 has the same things, level 3 the same, level 4 the same. And I have created the same thing for the boys' gymnastics, for the tumbling and trampoline. And I know Dean and Debbie have done similar things for the group gymnastics, the Gymnastics for All program, which is what we're going to, I hope, really promote here for the Native American kids, is get them started with this, because that's the basic for all of it. Okay, and as the kids get better, you have a little demonstration team. These are the kids that get to go out and do the parade. They do a show at the mall. You know, they take down the tumbling mat. They do a little show at the mall, get other kids interested. And this is how you grow your programs, okay? And eventually it becomes a little competition team. They can go to other gyms and have a competition, or other states. I've taken kids to Holland and to Germany. And how important is this for the children's education and becoming a real human being, okay? This is at the higher level, but this is where you start. You got to start at the beginning and to get to this point. Then I talked about adding more equipment as your program goes. Here's an example of what equipment we would need to get started. A little floor exercise routine, padded floors for a room about this size. We need to have a vault trainer and a vault board and a couple of mats. There are thicker mats to land on, softer mats to land on. The mini tramp, incline mats, these are mats at an angle. And kids, and especially the little kids, their head is bigger than their body in some cases. And they can't do good rolls on a level ground, but they can go downhill really easily. And so learning back rolls and front rolls, we use the incline mat. A climbing rope, get some strength in your arms and so on. A single bar, that's just one bar. You can do chin-ups and you can put your ankles up to the bar and you can do all these little things. This is the start of gymnastics. This is how it all begins. A balance beam. The balance beam is almost 4 inches wide, 16 feet long. And you can put them down right next to the floor, and that's where you start. Later on, you take a couple of mats and just put it up on a mat. Now it's a little bit scarier. And in competition, the balance beams are this high. So, but this, you know, we're looking at $15,000 to get a program started. It's nothing. Wouldn't each casino donate $15,000? You think they would to the community? I mean, just from that. Next year, she's going to have a program that's going to get $100,000, so we can start maybe 6 programs. Okay? How many wealthy people do we know that would donate 15 grand? I mean, there's people giving away thousands of dollars on the internet. You know, you look on the Facebook. This guy was throwing money up in the air at the supermarket. I mean, crazy things. All right. Anyway, this is the equipment idea. The teaching. There's over 1,000 beginning skills just in these little things that I have. There's levels. There's 10 levels for most of the competitive levels, and level 1 is very beginning, but a lot of times they only have a little routine. They don't have all the progressions and things, and that's what my levels program, the 1,000 skills, have done, is to provide those progression things. The group gymnastics, or the Gymnastics for All, we have 8 levels currently in our country. We have rules for 10. The Europeans do it. They start at 9 and 10. And then they come over here, we don't know what to do. But, and then there's the performance, doing the shows and things. And with the performance, and Dean's going to talk about this a little bit, show something of the World Gymnastradas, those huge, big events that happen. I was fortunate in 1963, when the first Gymnastics Federation started, Dan Millman and myself and another trampoline boy, we got to go with Mr. Frank Baer, who was the director of the Federation, over to Europe, to the International Turnfest, and to learn how those, they would have, in the huge soccer stadium, you know, it's a big field, they'd have 400 little girls in pink leotards out there doing a routine. And Dean will tell you a bit more about the international performance activities. It's just a tremendous thing. I don't want to take a whole lot of time, but would you like to see just a quick video of what I'm talking about?
We have plenty of time.
Where's my, there's my, and can we excite the Native communities to get involved in the gymnastic sports? Will the people see that it's a great benefit to the children? Because we can make it happen. We can get this going. And Jeannie, we're counting on you to get a bunch of money coming in, because you know we're going to have to find sites. We're going to have to find teachers and train the teachers. We're going to have to buy equipment. But it's all possible, and it's all something that I think we all want. Everybody wants that. So that's it for me. The athletes, in fact, one of our current athletes who was on the Olympic team this past year, a boy named Jake Dalton. And Jake was one of my students. I had Jake from the time he was about 10 until he was 16. And then he went off to the University of Oklahoma, where he is now, and was on the Olympic team. And I have a girl right now who's with the University of Nevada at Reno diving team, and the diving team has gone to China to train over there with the great Chinese divers, and this is a wonderful opportunity for her. This is a kid that I've trained since she was a little girl, and you know, the gymnastics has taken her to diving, and just a wonderful, wonderful thing. In my gym, I've been some of the gyms that I've had about 5 different gyms. A couple of them I've had the opportunity to have a 16,000 square foot facility. So I had 4 of everything, trampolines, and you know, rather than a climbing rope, I had 4 climbing ropes. Rather than 1 trampoline, I had 4 trampolines, and so on. So some of those facilities were really tremendous. I started a gymnastics school in Lake Tahoe, California. We had a girl named Sue once in a while, and go down the ski ramp and into the lake and different things like that. But we were able to train many of the boys.